So, Mary, you were teaching the primary years program in the International Baccalaureate. What makes it different?
Well, I think with PYP, the primary years program, um, it's basically teaching philosophy is based on basically these units of inquiry where the teachers pull in all when they do a unit over like an overall kind of theme. Like for instance, one of our themes was let's say it's migration, and you pull in connections from all the different subject areas so that the students can make the connections. Oh, I can see how this might apply to art. I can see how this would apply to, language arts is one of those things that it's very easy to tie everything into, or to science or into math. And you're pulling in all those subject areas into this learning theme. And so the students can kind of see how, subjects are not just totally learned and applied in isolation. We use math every day, we use language every day. There are connections and implications to all different types of, subject areas. And
Yeah,
I think with getting those different perspectives, I find a bunch of light bulbs go on. It's like, oh, wow. Have like in the primary years program, we would have meetings every week, once a week, to help with our unit planning. And in the unit plan, it has designated spots where how are you going to integrate, with other subject areas. And as a classroom teacher, we teach most of the subject matter. For, we're doing the science, we're doing the social studies, we're doing the math, we're doing the language. So then to integrate, to be able to integrate other subject areas, for instance, art, second language, music, or physical education, we need to collaborate with those teachers to see what they can do to contribute to that unit and assist the students learning. But it wasn't, it wasn't very difficult when we meet, every week, and we can, discuss with those teachers. And the interesting thing
yeah,
is that even perhaps the PE teacher can contribute ideas to a unit that maybe even doesn't even have anything to do with his or her phys ed class, but just, they're a human being and they're creative people and they can offer ideas as well. So that was very good.
yeah. And it just reinforces this idea that a community of practice can be with many different individuals and in many different layers as well. Is there a takeaway for the students? Like you talked about university and how you had light bulbs when history and English lit clicked. Do you see a tangible difference between teaching in the IB school with the students and not?
I do see with making these connections and integrating subjects, I feel that there's greater opportunity to have a more quality and a little bit less quantity. So for instance, when I was teaching in the middle years program as a second language English teacher, I have to teach how to, to write essays. So instead of writing a separate essay just for my topic on, whatever, I knew that the kids had to write an essay for their history class. So I just collaborated with the history teacher, said, hey, I know that you need to, your kids need to write an essay for you. So I can teach them essay writing and we'll make that the assessment. And so the kids are then able to, I can focus on the writing aspect of it. and the history teacher can focus on the content aspect of it. And then, you know, and the kids are getting more bang for their buck. We can add more quality to that instruction, instead of, you know, trying to have the kids pound out, you know, 2 essays. So that's a bit of an example of how we can get them to work smarter instead of harder, and then have more time to get more quality instruction in there.
So with theory of knowledge, it was decided that understanding knowledge and being an appropriate consumer of knowledge, but that implies passivity, passive learning. But with the theory of knowledge, we want people to be consumers of knowledge, but creators of knowledge, and also be able to reflect on the knowledge that they're receiving to determine whether or not that knowledge is valid, and what are the foundations of that knowledge. So TOK makes us, basically, theory of knowledge is, in short, how do I know what I know? And if you think about it that way, then theory of knowledge is basically metacognition. How am I learning, and what methods and tools do I have to learn and to build and then move forward? So we want people to question authority. We want people to question facts. We want people to question their understanding. We want to build global citizens who can have a really good debate and understand that the same experience can generate multiple truths and perspectives.
One of the things that I liked about the IB is that it tries to remove some of the content and say, look, these skills and these abilities are important. And
Sure.
when I think of like English and music, what I taught, 1/4 of my grade was metacognitive, and it was, all right, we're going to reflect on this project, we're going to reflect on the research and the performance and whatever products you handed to me, and tell me about that. And I think to get kids learning that from a young age is it's awesome.
What the AB is trying to do, and particularly through theory of knowledge, is to try to create links, and so that a concept that you're looking at in theory of knowledge is valid for history and for English and for music, you know. And it still gets, the challenge is to be holistic and to really do a lot of communications to get those things to link up, to build those connections. When you get lazy, you just say, okay, well, now it's time for theory of knowledge. Now it's time for history. Now it's time for music. Now it's time for English and your other language. The real challenge is to get kids to bring in what they're learning from TOK across the board, and also to bring what they're learning across the board into the TOK classroom.
Yeah.
Because it's those big concepts, it's those big learnings and those understandings